how would you compare yourselves to those guys as far as house movement?
Well, so if we look at Dev, KEG, and then us, and then I'll say a couple of the SASs, they're all actually quite different in a lot of ways.
I mean, I guess just in terms of how good they are. If let's say you're a hostage, right? So this is the most non-biased way I can put it, I guess. You're a hostage, and you get to pick who's coming to fucking save you. Who are you going to pick?
I'm going to pick us, but I can't look at it anything but biased.
Right.
Because what happens though is we started like what's called the global engagement strategy, and we work with these units and we share, so we get to learn their hard lessons. They get to learn our lessons. You know what I mean? So there's quite a bit of through lines, but there is one difference. We have a national mandate, and the national mandate changes how we do things nationally. And I know that might sound like, okay, why? The assumption of risk goes up. And then generally, like in Afghanistan, you're dealing with thick mud walls. Thick mud walls change how you can do CQB.
Yeah.
They give you more advantages and disadvantages as opposed to like plaster. Plaster gives you different advantages and disadvantages, what changes your style. So I would say that we're the only ones that have kind of multiple styles that will turn on and off, that can flow into each other.
I got you.
And it would mostly stem from that because our roots were in the cop world, and then we not went into the military, but then molded it to that. So yeah, what you need for the time is different, you know, and the way you move, the speed at which you move because of those things. Things you can use like grenades or no grenades, all that kind of stuff changes things.
ROEs. In that class that you went through, were most of the guys that went through that similarly background to you, or were there like legit grew up in the fucking streets of Toronto guys that showed up?
By and large, if we want to look at like stats, most people come from some kind of nowadays either CSOR or some kind of jump company. So they're infantry and they're airborne qualified. Mm-hmm. Most of them come from a rural background. Yeah. But there was a couple. I can only, no, you know what? I say a couple. I can think of one. No, there was a couple guys who were more city boys. Yeah. And they're a little bit different.
Sure.
But they were good operators. Nothing. No.
All right, so you go through that. Before I forget, I know guns are a huge fucking sticking point both here and in Canada. With your background, is there any credence given to that as far as you being able to carry or own firearms differently than an average Canadian citizen?
No.
Like it's still a motherfucker for you to, like you can't carry a fucking pistol around town in Canada legally.
They were working on changing that, and I don't know where that's at, where an operator could carry, but I don't know where they're at with that.
Is it different for police? Can police carry off duty there the way they can here?
I think so, yeah. But I don't know that for sure, and I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
The thing is guns are a little less tolerated in some ways in Canada. In some ways, actually surprisingly more, but in other ways not. Yeah. Especially when we start talking what type, like a pistol or whatnot. Like in Canada, we can carry shorter shotguns than you guys in the US can, like there's like some weird stuff like that. Because there's quite a bit of gun culture in Canada because a lot of it's rural.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you start talking pistols and stuff like that, then I guess the real answer would be I don't know where it's at and what it is. I think there should be. I mean, if there's someone who's qualified to carry a gun and use it for protection for themselves or for others, it's probably a serviceman or woman.
Yeah. Do you keep much of a gun collection at your property?
So, as I mentioned earlier, my former wife, she was an American, and we had a pretty substantial gun collection down here. Some custom long rifles and a few pistols, and then some other rifles, and then I have, for my program for the Special Forces experience for the process, I probably have a good 70 guns for that, you know.
Yeah.
And then up north, I have a small collection of what I need.
Yeah.
To feel like if the lights go out, I got what I need, and I can get more of what I need. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you make it through selection. Did you go through sniper school not long after that?
Nope. I was kind of what we just call a number one and number two, and then an MOE for a while before I hit up sniper school. It was a couple years. Timeline's so hazy, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is revisiting this stuff with you. It was, but I think it might have been in like my third year.
Okay.
Did that. We started working down here in Texas, actually, with Accuracy First, up in the Panhandle. And that was kind of my first taste of long range stuff. We were pushing our marksman program, call it like a lesser sniper.
Yeah.
And we were using a lot of the stuff from there, which really changed the game. It was good stuff.
In those couple of years prior to going to sniper, did you do multiple deployments?
I did some, yeah. Nothing like too haywire or nothing, and then a few that are just kind of off the books, if you will.
Sure. Well, let's talk about those. I'm kidding.
I know. I get it. I know people want to hear it and all that, but it's like,
yeah, no, I'm just fucking with you. So you go through sniper school. Some of it's here, some of it's there. Is there or was there not a certified sniper course that's run in-house with JTF2 or within CANSOF as a whole?
No, we run our own.
So just kind of a almost piecemealed, like.
No, it's the best in the world.
Yeah.
That I'll say. I'll say that we hold the best sniper course in the
really?
world. Yeah. I'll say that, and I can get flack, pushback, all that, but the proof's in the pudding. We have the longest kill.
Do you hold that?
No, I don't hold that.
You know the guy that does?
Yeah.
Can you? I mean, were you there, or do you know the circumstances of it?
Yeah, I know the circumstances of it.
Can you share those?
Well, I'm just trying to think where my boundaries are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can think about it if you want. But.
Yeah, no. I can say a few things. It was a 50 cal. It was filmed, which is rare.
Yeah.
Just coincidentally filmed. It was from a high rise. It was. We don't really do so much traditional sniper spotter. Train, like we do use spotters when we can, but we self spot pretty much everything, even on a 50 cal. It was kind of like a Candyland situation, you know. We talked about it earlier, where all the pieces fall into place, and you know, as hardcore as they are, ISIS was no more. They were pretty zealoty. And they kind of were doing a lot of almost traditional style fighting against, well, the fucking West, which is like, it was ridiculous, to be honest. So anyways, yeah, they move in. They're about to not overtake, but move in on a position of, I'm just trying to think of what the Kurds, what they're called, their special forces.
This was in Iraq.
This was in Iraq, yeah. In Mosul. And anyways, oh man, I'm going to tell you a story after this, because there's more to the story. Like, I just don't know where I kind of step. But anyways, it was a phenomenal shot. It was maybe the longest shot that'll ever happen from a powder fired, shoulder fired weapon.
Wow.
Well, just because right now, you know, you go bigger than 50, and now you're getting into turf where it's really fucking hard to actually hold in a shoulder. Mm-hmm. Let alone the optics and the algorithms needed to make that kind of shot. You know, someone will probably do like whatever that is in miles. You know, it's 3.6 something kilometers.
That's how long the shot was?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, no, it's a beast. It's a beast.
So it was an Overwatch or a high-rise scenario. Was it a guy holding an RPG or a weapon, or what? Can you share like the circumstances operationally kind of?
Yeah, well, yeah, they were stacking up outside on a wall, getting ready to make a move around. I can't remember. I couldn't really give. They were, yeah. So where the Overwatch was, they presented like right broadside, and yeah, shot goes off. It's like 10 or 11 seconds now. You know, this stuff's going up.
That's crazy.
Like, so high. So it's 10 seconds.
That doesn't,
you know, just for someone not to even move, and then bam, hits the guy, rolls down a hill, and then gets up again.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
There's a thing of beauty in a lot of ways.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like on, I don't even think Live Leak even exists anymore, but is it something public out there at all, or no?
Nobody's not yet anyways.
Yeah, nobody's fucked that up yet.
Nobody's fucked that up yet. To be honest, I'm not.
I don't know why it couldn't be.
Well, yeah. As of now, I don't know why. I know there's some tech and stuff that actually ITAR, you know, so it's American owned.
Yeah.
That might have something to do with that.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not like it's not known. I do have something else I'll speak to you about offline, why I think it might not be.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Well, here's the deal. The Canadian military sucks at promotion. Mm-hmm. They suck at it. And then JTF2, its fucking motto is facta non verba, which means deeds, not words.
Yeah.
So it's terrible at it. Like literally, I'm the only one who's really talking about JTF2.
Right.
And I kind of got a bit of a riot act on where my arcs are, and they're trying to open them, you know, but it's, you know, we're talking red tape stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's not a natural tendency to do it. Down here, and it's because, especially like in Texas or something, but people appreciate their military much more. In Canada, there's a lot of liberal pushback, and I know I'm generalizing like as if all liberals don't like the military, but it's like they don't understand that they're kind of suckling at the teat at the work that has done, you know. But so there's this tendency to not do that, you know, because then it's not that it does, but then it starts getting looked at like almost like propaganda,
right?
You know.
Yeah. All right. So you go through the best sniper course in the world, right? and then
I can see it now.
Yeah. And then, how long is it?
It's 4 months.
4 months. So you finish with that, and then you go back on deployment as a JTF2 sniper.
No. So what happened is I did my sniper course, and then I deployed with the skill set. So yeah, I'm a sniper. You know, I had a long gun and all that stuff. That's what I brought one of them to Iraq with me.
Yeah.
But I'm technically not in the sniper troop yet. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of it's, so you got to think it's a small unit. It's like, I was an MOE, so they needed to keep their breacher in their team, you know? Yeah. So it's kind of, it's not politics, but it's just the chess game, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, no, when I deployed to Iraq, I was an MOE. I like I said, I brought a long gun with me just in case, but unfortunately I only used it for training their guys.
Yeah.
And then that was it for that, really.
And how was that deployment overall?
It was good. It was good. So we were up in kind of the Erbil, Suleiman, Erbil, Mosul kind of triangle.
Yeah.
It was kind of the stomping grounds.
Northern part.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it a busy, active, combative deployment?
Yes. Not great. So what happened is we had really good ROEs, and then those got clawed back. So then you know how it goes. And then it's all semantics, right? Advise and assist. And
yeah.
But ISIS had dug in. You know, I still don't understand their logic here, because every fucking time they try to do something, airstrike, or like they didn't really have much to touch.
Yeah.
The line, you know, the Pesh line, if you will.
Yeah.
There was a few things, you know, like there's a lot of good work done They're, I wish I could remember what their special forces, like, cause that's what we were doing. We were working with KEG and we built up this SF group, and, whatever the ops became, they went by their certain names. But they did a lot of good work.
Yeah.
And it was like spicy, but it wasn't too spicy. You know, it was like the kind of thing where we're going to the coffee shop and an IED goes off. You know what I mean? Like it's like a real weird mixture of tense and not tense.
Yeah.
You know, because
which is arguably more nerve-wracking because it's such a wide swing of comfortable, complacent to holy fuck, the world's coming down and then back. You know, that back and forth I think is worse than just kind of always being on edge.
Exactly. Well, so either you let the natural survival cycles kick in and you're in that kind of that cold spot.
Yeah.
Well, and it also made it more confusing in some ways too, because now you're gathering intelligence and, you know, like who's working who here. And it makes it not unpleasant, but like you said, it gives a dynamic can be difficult to navigate for sure. Yeah.
So you finished that deployment. Was there a subsequent deployment that you went as a tasked sniper where that's mostly what you were doing?
No, I never got deployed as a sniper. I got out shortly after that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I was slated. Mm-hmm. And this is where some of the politics come in because I was supposed to go somewhere and I wasn't. And that led into my decision to get out. My decision to leave.
Yeah. Was the glass kill that you had with your C7, is that what, was the more sniper-esque shot that you got?
Unfortunately,
before you went through sniper school?
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
It totally sucks.
Yeah. But that's the fucking military for you. You know?
Well, you said it early on, man. You don't get to always pick.
I mean, shit, you never get to, you know? I mean, what was the second deployment that you'd say from talking about that you wanted to go over and kind of cover?
Well, it was kind of the Iraq one. I know it's not like a ton.
Was there anything that stuck out on it that was, you know, something that you either think back on often or that seemed like it was a tide turner for you guys or who you were working with? Were there any kind of standout ops that way?
There was, but you know, it was, we started off we had like really hot ROEs. We were the only ones that had full ROEs there at the time. And, it started off really nice, you know, a lot of frontline stuff, all that kind of stuff. But it was none of it was really intimate. That was the thing. Because then they got pulled and we built up this unit. And then unfortunately for me, I left. And then that's when they really started using these units and then just started hitting targets everywhere. A lot around Mosul. Mosul got a lot of because that was kind of like the last stronghold of ISIS, really. Yeah. You know, they were in Syria and stuff like that. And there was like work being done all around there. Mm-hmm. But like I said, unfortunately, where I can actually talk to runs out pretty quick there. Yeah.
What was the mission set for you guys when you went there to augment American forces with what they were doing, or did you have your own standalone orders?
Yeah, we had our own standalone, and but then so something that's kind of interesting in that realm is you start to dictate your job too, right? You get pushed down, hey, go do this. And then once you're doing that, you start forming what you're actually going to do. That's what's nice about being in these kinds of units is it's, okay, we need to do this and we need to do this and we need to do this. And then it's about finding the work, right? Okay, where can we augment with the Americans? Where can we, gather intelligence? Where can we get closer to that front line, right? Because that's really what you're trying to do. You're a soldier looking to do that kind of business. So no, we had our own, and it was. In fact, actually, when we were there, the first coalition person to die was a Canadian.
Oh no shit!
Yeah, it was a CSOR guy. A bit of an unfortunate kind of blue on green. Not kind of, it was a blue on green. They were coming back from an op and, just an unfortunate series of events where one of the Kurds is yelling down in Kurdish and he responds in Arabic because he was an Arabic speaking Canadian and, ISIS speaks Arabic.
Yeah.
So they had no night vision stuff. Anyways, they light it up and, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Anyways, he ends up getting shot. They come close to saving him. But he was like, so when that second, third, whatever, I don't even know what generation of the Afghan war, or not Afghan, Iraq war was. We were the first ones to lose someone there as well.
Oh, wow.
Which was, as a Canadian, it was really kind of not cool. Fuck, that's the awful word.
Yeah.
But it was like, yes, finally, we're showing that we're also a fucking real military here that does its own foreign policy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Were there significant gunfights in that deployment, or was it mostly tit for tat little shit here and there?
There was some. There were some that were more significant, yeah, for sure. There were some that were closer, but it was mostly tit for tat.
Yeah.
So until the real counterinsurgents started once. So what happened is all the teeth were taken out of the coalition. I call it the coalition, but from everybody, the teeth was taken out. And I think what they wanted to do, unlike prior attempts, is they didn't want it to be like a full American face or a full Canadian face. They really, I don't know if it was the Kurds who dictated this or whatnot, wanted like a high Kurd presence. But the problem is they just, when we first went, weren't ready to do that, Yeah. It took a while to get them to that stage.
I gotcha. The gunfights that did happen, what were those like?
They were lots of small arms fire, but they did have some some of the Russian, 55 mils, that kind of stuff. They did have some older artillery that would come in. And the truth is they sucked. They weren't really good at putting pressure on. So there was nothing that got really too haywire. There was some guys from the unit that almost got shot a few times, but it was like completely just haphazard and random. You know what I mean? Like nothing too hairy. But you got to think, hairy becomes relative now.
Sure.
The first time most people are shot at is not pleasant, right? So a gunfight that has one kind of pressure and intensity now might not seem so hairy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what the nature of the beast. It becomes relative. Right?
Yeah. Was there any of them that stood out as where you guys were the most? Is there one that stands out where you guys were really successful in making a big dent in any of their troops?
No, not really. I would say though that the most successful that our unit had would be the one with the long range kill. That was the final push through Mosul. That was part of that final push. And in that there was all kinds of stuff done, from above, from the ground. But again, unfortunately teeth were taken out and not really.